Today on the Topic Show, Vivek on 10 million illegal immigrants crossing the border. The North Face will give you 20% off if you take a racial inclusion course and admit to having white privilege. Ron DeSantis DEI firing goes viral. Bud Light beer made with rice actually flops. Who would have thought? Abercrombie Fitch CEO, they're on a path for $5 billion in sales. Temu advertising near $2 billion in 2023. And Victoria's Secret stock, well, it crashed pretty bad last week, going down as much as 30% in a single day. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT there or a business owner, you can reach the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Abercrombie Fitch CEO say they're on a path to reach $5 billion in sales, which is quite a bit to say the least for very fancy clothing, which usually disintegrates after a couple years. I wouldn't know. I don't think I've ever bought anything from there. I don't know. When I was a child, they used to be the one where kind of the cliche, the quote-unquote cool kids would shop there, and they would spend hundreds of dollars on blue jeans made in China. And truth be told, the people working at Abercrombie & Fitch were always top-notch in terms of attractiveness. They knew the demographic they were going after. However, they're less and less attractive. It seems to be a decrease in the attractiveness of Americans. I don't know who is that's because the gyms aren't working and the food supply is just total trash, but our waistlines seem to be expanding exponentially. Now, Abercrombie and Fitch, let's pull up their stock real quick. They've been around for quite some time. Now, in terms of their stock is done, what's a nice word to say, magical, phenomenally good. In the past, let's do the 5-year trend. So in the past 5-year trend, their stock has gone up 381.51%, which I would have never guessed given what I previously thought about the company and their old business model and their old target demographics, because again, there are less and less of people in their old customer base. Now, in the past year to date, they're up 345.85%. Again, currently, by the time this video is rendered and published, they'll probably change a little bit because it's a stock, but currently trading for $123.41 per share. And it looks like they do not pay dividends, so not much of a reward, or they don't really give you an incentive to keep the stock, except for, eventually when you sell it off. Now, in terms of the year to date, granted it's only been about one fiscal quarter, they're up 35.63%. Past 6 months trend, it's gone up 131%. 1 month is up about 15%. Interesting enough, last week went down around 6%, so a little short-term loss there. But they are doing fantastic, to say the least. Now, when asked for additional comment, this one of the first ones comes from, or first areas to cover it was Brian Sozu over at Yahoo Finance, which a little bit of nostalgia right there, since Yahoo used to be bigger than Google back in the day. Which, again, never underestimate the competition. And then when someone says they want to buy you out for $44 billion, probably should say yes. They didn't, and then I think Microsoft offered them $44 billion, and they subsequently sold for like a tenth of that. I believe Verizon bought Yahoo, and then truth be told, they've been bought and sold a couple times. Now, it looks like their sales have been, of course, increasing, and the main question they're asking CEO Franz Horowitz and his team is if they can keep up with the good times, or you think their sales are going to go down in 2024, aka this year, because of all the uncertainty with the economy and the election, which is a ripple effect that is affecting darn near every industry that I've seen. And he says that the $5 billion target was originally put out initially by a New York investor in 2022. Now in 2023, they hit $4.3 billion in sales, which that's astronomically good. Now it looks like the net sales are up 21% year over year to net sales to 1.5 billion versus estimates 1.43 billion. Now it looks like the comparable sales are increased 16% versus the 15.7% estimate. Looks like the Abercrombie & Fitch sales division was 755.2 million versus 697.7 million, and Hollister sales were up 697.7 million versus the 724 million estimated. Completely forgot about Hollister. I think I have a funny seagull for a mascot, which all the cool, awesome mascots you can think throughout the business history of the years, oh, Seagull's kind of weak, but that's just me. Now they know their gross profit margin is ridiculously good because, again, it's fashion apparel. One of the biggest rewards for entering the most difficult industries out there is the profit margin. It's usually pretty darn good if you can make it, which of course is one of the most difficult things in the most hyper-competitive industries of fashion. Truth be told, when it comes to fashion, as we all know, all men should always suit up, and truth be told, good suit will last your lifetime. Now, their gross profit margin was 62.9%, and that is up from the previous year where it was 55.7%. Now, the estimates were saying they were hoping to have a profit margin of 60.2%, so again, the best way to beat the socks off every Wall Street analyst and every shareholder is to exceed expectations, because again, not only gives you incentive to hold the stock because it shows the company is doing well, but that's a big sign for people to buy the stock. Again, not financial advice, but a lot of people will see that as a positive sign, and they'll end up being new investors, and more people will buy the stock. Now, it looks like their inventories are doing pretty good, and yeah, they also attribute to, a lot of people are asking, what's the secret behind this? Now, one LinkedIn article noted that, one of the keys would be expanding the demographics. Because again, for pretty much my whole lifetime, they used to be in these old-fashioned buildings or collection of buildings called a shopping mall, which again does age me quite a bit. And that's, for most of my life, that's where I thought this company was really, really best known for. And I don't know the last time I ever saw a mall. I know they still exist, but in all seriousness, their main demographic were, the teens, the teenagers, middle school, high school. Now, one of the ways they've been able to expand their sales is to start targeting the age-old millennials. Now, those people are now in their 20s and their 30s and beyond, and it looks like they say they're selling some of these clothing. These people are using the clothing for happy hour and for friends' weddings, and they introduced new wedding line in activewear, plus jeans that fit. Oh, let's see. Maybe that's not great news. Jeans that fit, quote, a wider variety of body types, which is a very politically correct way of saying they're going to make jeans for overweight people, which, again, that is an expanding category of consumers, pun moderately intended. And interestingly enough, this doesn't seem to detract from the image of a premium brand, which is one of the reasons Victoria's Secret shot themselves into the man foot, or the big foot, which we'll cover in a couple of minutes. Now, they note that the chain is now setting its sights on expanding internationally, especially in Europe and Asia Pacific region. So it'll be interesting to see as they just exponentially increase their sales more and more. Can they really overcome the uncertain economy where everyone seems to be cutting back their spending? They're trying to be more conservative, fiscally speaking, and they don't know if they're going to be out of job, if their industry is going to be regulated out of existence. So a lot of businesses are starting to decrease their spend, and consumers as well in 2024. And again, there's nothing you need at Abercrombie Fitch. You really don't need that many new clothes in your lifetime. I'm trying to think, the last time I purchased clothing, I want to say it was 7 or 8 years ago. Now, I did buy some branded t-shirts for the company, but that's not really, for me, that's to give away. I think I have one or two with my name, or that still find their way in my closet. But yeah, I'm definitely not the target demographic, to say the least. But let me know, when's the last time you actually went to an Abercrombie & Fitch, and when's the last time you actually bought something for them? I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could click that button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up or thumbs down or a comment is a great way to give me some more additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.